This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. 9:21 Monday, August 11th, right here on Jocks. Going to get to Bruce Feldman here in just a moment. Before we do that, Greg, tell our listeners how great Bromberg's is.
Well, Bromberg's is great. It's been a place I've been going for a very long time. Always appreciate the experience that I have when dealing with their top-of-the-line sales staff. Just a beautiful, beautiful jewelry that they have in their store. And right now they're actually upgrading the Mountain Brook store to enhance your experience and elevate your experience even higher. I didn't know it could get much higher because it's just so great all the time. Highly recommend you go and checking out Bromberg's. Buy something that might last a lifetime, might last multiple lifetimes. It'll keep it in your family for a generation plus. Go and check them out in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit. It's Bromberg's.
All right, this is one of the best things that you see any college football season leading into the regular season, and that is Bruce Feldman's Freaks List, because you just learn about some guys and some of the things that they do that are just mind-blowing. And I don't think anybody would be surprised, Bruce, that Jeremiah Smith would be number one on your list. And honestly, I'm not sure if we would need to know anything about him off the field that was crazy and ridiculous that he does. Just watching him play football feels like qualifies him to be number one on your list.
Yeah, I would tell some of my colleagues last year who hadn't seen him in person, until you see him from field level, you don't realize how much different he is than all the other college receivers you typically see or even saw at Ohio State in recent years, where they're just producing one elite receiver after another. I mean, the crazy things for me are a guy who's hitting 23.5 miles per hour, broad jump at 11 feet, but you see the strength. And when I talked to him a couple of weeks back, I said, of all the freaky feats and numbers you put up, what's the thing you're most proud of? And he said it's his strength. He went from benching 2.25, 5 reps last year to 20 reps now. And that's a pretty significant jump, especially for a guy who's only 1 year out of high school to be that strong at that position. I mean, he's just a remarkable athlete, and obviously you're seeing it all on the field as well.
Just to put this in perspective quickly. So Ohio State's telling you that he hit 23.5 on the GPS. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Tyreek Hill has the fastest next-gen speed recorded in an NFL game in 2016 of 23.25, just to make folks aware of what we're talking about here and how incredibly insane that is for this dude that weighs, 223 to be hitting that on a GPS.
And well over 6'3", and like I said, the broad jump 11 feet it's just crazy all the stuff he can do. He squats 550. I mean, it's just remarkable to see this guy. The only comparison I had for him for a while was Andre Johnson was a great receiver at Miami. He's obviously in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Similar size, incredible strength, incredible toughness, and the determination and all those other intangibles, I think are really what is pushing him to be so special.
It's ridiculous to think about some of the numbers. I mean, Julio Jones comes to mind for me, but anytime you're getting mentioned alongside Hall of Famers, pretty good spot to start. What were some of the biggest takeaways? Seems like there's a handful of teams with a few guys on there, and it's kind of amazing to see some of these numbers. But of all the most jaw-dropping statistics that you came up with these strength coaches, what was the one that kind of took you aback the most?
Who was the Alex Orgy pistol squat from last year?
It's actually – so I got numbers from Alabama probably a month ago or maybe, 6 weeks ago. And then I just checked in with Kalen DeBoer and then, with his strength coach. And he got back to me about – so I've never had 3 guys from the same offensive line on the Freaks List before. I do with Alabama. But the numbers that they sent back on not just the power numbers on Caden Proctor, the left tackle, but the jump numbers blew my mind when I saw it. Because, again, you're talking about a guy who's 6'7", 366 pounds. The squat numbers, he's well over 800 pounds. He benches 535, power cleans over 400 pounds. All that's, remarkable. But, again, he's 366. The crazy thing was when I saw that he vertical jumped 32 inches, and I'm trying to put that into context for being a guy that big. Now, plenty of guys on the football field, not plenty, but probably a handful are going to jump more than 32 inches. But at 366, I went back and looked. The NFL Combine, there were 5 receivers who either didn't jump as high or just hit 32. One of them was LeJohntay Wester from Colorado, who had like an 85-yard punt return in a preseason game this past weekend. He's 203 pounds less than Caden Proctor, and he jumped the same height. That's mind-blowing for a guy to be that big and that explosive.
No, it's ridiculous. And you've got Parker Brailsford on there, who I feel like most people would immediately go to like a Jaden Roberts or Caden Proctor because of just their size. But Brailsford may be more impressive because of the things he's doing under 300 pounds in that weight room.
Yeah, I mean, when he came to Washington, he's an Arizona kid. He seemed like he was really, really undersized, but he was a heck of a player for them early. He's 290. His body fat's 19%, which, as you know, Cole, that's not common to be that low for in the O-line room. He's a 500-pound bencher, but he vertical jumps 33 inches. He hit almost 19.5 miles per hour. Again, and this guy is almost 300 pounds. I mean, he's terrific player, but you also see the strength numbers backs it up. I mean, go back to some of the offensive linemen Iowa have had who might have been slightly undersized, but just super explosive and strong, and Brailsford's definitely in that category.
What about looking at some of the other teams in the SEC? You got a handful of guys that are just jaw-dropping numbers, and the amount of information we have now with miles per hour and all this stuff is just crazy, the technology that surrounds it. But outside of some of the Alabama numbers amongst the offensive line, what did you kind of learn about maybe the skill positions in the SEC?
Yeah, there's definitely a couple of guys. I've had Chris Hilton from LSU, great high school jumper. I mean, one of the most explosive athletes in all of college football, and a guy who's, hadn't really been able to stay healthy. If he can, obviously that's going to be a huge piece for Garrett Nussmeier and LSU because they already got a super athletic receiver room with the transfers they brought in. Definitely a guy to keep an eye on. Then the one who I feel like flies below the radar a little bit, maybe not, to the diehard SEC fans, but nationally, Eli Stowers came to Texas A&M as a 4-star quarterback, and he transferred, ended up at New Mexico State, was there with Pavia, did pretty well, changed positions, became a tight end. He's an undersized tight end at 235, but he's 6'4", was a Texas high school high jump champ. He broad jumps 11.3, vertical jumps almost 40 inches. He's a guy NFL people are really excited about because I think they see the versatility and the ability as a matchup problem. And I think as Vanderbilt has ascended a little bit last year with Pavia, I think he's a guy people are gonna get to know a lot more if they can sustain it and build off last year.
Well, the thing about Stowers is he's got legit ball skills too, for going from quarterback to playing tight end. I don't know what the ball skills look like for CC Ezram at Toledo.
Yeah.
But 6'7", 245 with a 39-inch vertical running 22 miles an hour. If he can catch 1 out of 10 passes, I feel like he should be a first rounder doing these things. Like, what kind of football player is this? Like, I got to go watch him today and find something on him.
Yeah, the head coach there, Jason Candle. Now remember, Toledo's had some freaky guys in recent years.
Sure.
Quinyon Mitchell turned out, was a terrific corner for them. He's already lighting it up for the Eagles. Darius Alexander, really good player. Defensive lineman, was in the draft last year. Ezram is really blossomed physically. And so Candle told me, he thinks this is the year he breaks out. Even broad jumps almost 11 feet. It's just like, I usually don't have MAC guys that high up, but, the track record on Toledo Freaks, it's a good program. It has a chance to be, I don't know if I would say they have real playoff hopes, but if he takes the next step and they have a young linebacker who's also in the top 50 on my Freaks list, who they're really excited about, got hurt last year, but is a guy that they think is going to be an NFL talent for sure down the road.
Looking at some of it's amazing how you can find some of these guys, but when you get a guy like Toledo, for example, are the coaches like, don't tell anybody? Because now it's like, it's harder than ever to keep these guys at the G5 level when their name gets put in the Freaks list, every single one of these coaches is reading it and they're like, golly, why are they don't talk about my guy, Bruce? Like, he have some reaction like that?
The best story on that was a few years ago, Jeff Traylor, the head coach at UTSA, said, "Hey, when is this going to run?" And I said, "Well," and we started talking about the dates, and he goes, "If it runs in August, I got a guy." And then it was Tariq Woolen, and when he told me the numbers, he's 6'4", he's a 11-foot broad jump guy. He's going to run in the 4.3s, and I couldn't believe the numbers. Well, Tariq Woolen ended up blowing up. He did everything he told me he was going to do at the combine. Ended up having a terrific rookie year for the Seahawks. But I think if I had done that, we'd run the freak system earlier in the summer. I'm not sure he would have told me about it, because I think the worry is a guy like that is definitely getting poached by a bigger program.
And it probably has happened here, but like I look at these numbers from Jeff Caldwell, who's going to Cincinnati from Lindenwood, which is a school that not a lot of people are going to talk about, the Lindenwood Lions and what like their guys are doing. 6'4", 208, 11.9 broad jump. I don't know what the combine record is for any position, but I've never seen a kid go 11.9 on any broad jump.
The crazy thing of all the combine stuff, and this is a story I feel like I want to do someday, and I probably should, is the combine record in the broad jump is 12.3 by Byron Jones. He was a cornerback at UConn who ended up playing for the Cowboys. That's actually like the world record, because, the broad jump is not like the 100-meter dash. It's not like some of these other things where it's gotten, it's like an Olympic event or anything. It's something we probably all did as kids, and certainly the NFL uses as a metric for explosiveness. But that's not far off the world record. It's, just a few inches away. So, again, this is a receiver with really good size. He was a Division II player. He's originally from Louisville. Scott Satterfield, the head coach of Cincinnati, had been at Louisville. They knew about him, and I guess they need him, because I think this is a coach who's got a lot of pressure on him, and they need a difference maker receiver. And Lord knows he has explosiveness to beat that guy.
There were a couple other guys that surprised me when looking at a few of these, and one that stood out was Bryce Young at Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's got a couple of guys on here, whatnot, but he's of course son of great 49er player Bryant Young, and his mom
definitely would have made the list when he was in college.
1,000,000%.
Biggest quads all time.
100%. And his mom was a track star. So he's sitting at 6'7", 270, jumping nearly 35 and broad jump 9.5, coupled with what I think is the most impressive at 6'7", cleaning 335. That is ridiculous to get the bar that high. What do you think is likely for him, and in particular the Notre Dame defense as a whole?
Yeah, he's put on almost 30 pounds since he's been there. All those numbers are impressive, especially when you consider he's really only 1 year into a college weight program.
Yeah.
And, talking to Marcus Freeman, he thinks he has a chance to take a big step forward. I mean, they've upgraded the athleticism on the defense considerably, just in recent years. And he's a guy I think they're counting on to be much more of an impact guy. He made some plays last year. I think he had some, he had some impact as a freshman, as a true freshman going in there. But I think they see down the road, and we're not that far from being down the road for him, to be a guy who can be a dominant force because of the length he has, because of the explosiveness he has. And again, the genetics are about as good as you can get when you talked about his parents, what they were at Notre Dame, and certainly what Bryant Young was in the NFL.
Lenore Sellers is on your list, and I think a lot of people wouldn't be too surprised about it. But what was the most surprising portion with him? The strength numbers? I don't think 22 on the GPS, which is fast, by the way. Like fast. That's DB fast. So, but it's at 245, that's moving. But was it the strength numbers about him that were probably most surprising?
No, for me, it honestly was the body fat number. I mean, he's 6'3", 245, and only has 7% body fat. And so, I'll be honest, a couple of years ago, you had, I remember Arkansas's quarterback, KJ Jefferson, was a really good player and was listed around that, 6'3", 245. And when I saw him out here when he was training in San Diego, he looked like he was like 6'3", 275. Like he was a big man. He almost looked like what you expect like a high school guard to look like or something. And I remember thinking, Lenoris is like those kind of dimensions, but there's no, I don't think KJ Jefferson would have been probably half that body fat roughly at that measure. And to see what Sellers is, as you guys know, I mean, great player on the field, terrific runner, but just to be that big and that lean, I think that was really what surprised me. I know he's a terrific player. He's a terrific athlete, and we talked about him before. He's an awesome kid too, super smart. But the body fat number really, that was like, okay, because usually anything under 10%. I mean, we're not talking about a receiver. We're not talking about a DB. We're talking about a very big quarterback to be that lean.
I was looking at Marlon Klein, the Michigan tight end. Like if he has decent ball skills, like he looks like he could be every bit of Colston Loveland for the Wolverines this year. However, you also mentioned redshirt freshman running back Michael Capana. But the real question is, what is the Michigan reactive plyo stare record?
So I will after we're off, I will send you the video of this. So in recent years in Freaks List, the Michigan staff has been really good. They've sent me a lot of the videos of what these guys are doing. And so the staircase, it's almost like jumping on probably
like the big box jump staircase they have.
Yeah, exactly. And
Ben Herbert's stupid stuff that he comes up with, even though he's in LA now.
Yeah, but they still kept all that stuff. So this guy is just pogoing up this, just rocketing up there. And the old record was 2.19 seconds. That was Roman Wilson, or 2.22 was the old record, and he beat it by 3/100ths of a second. And it's impressive. You can see how excited all the other players are. They kind of knew this guy probably was going to break it. And we'll see how he, he's a younger back from Hawaii. He's not the biggest guy, but he's certainly pretty dynamic to do what he did there.
You're doing those things. You're pretty good. I know it's easy to say the craziest speed number is whoever, like Jeremiah Smith, who's like 23.5. But was there a speed number because of maybe who the guy was that was like more impressive than that you got from anybody?
That like Nick Harbor, who was number one the last couple of years, is 23.6. And he's an even bigger guy.
It's dumb, by the way.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, also 5% body fat. Like 245 pounds and 6'5". That's pretty insane. To me, the speed number that kind of was a triple take. Amari Washington is a defensive tackle for Oregon. Obviously, our friend Dan Lanning has seen a lot of freaky D linemen from his time, especially in the SEC, as has Tosh Lupoy, the DC there. This guy is 6'3", almost 340 pounds, and hit 20.89 miles per hour. He vertical jumped 36 inches. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Lanning said he feels like he's ready to take that next big step. Those numbers have to translate on the field now for this guy, though.
Do you know if Logan Jones won the Beef Days hay bale toss? Because that's the most impressive thing he could get.
He did not. It was funny because, I saw him a couple of weeks ago. We talked about, Freaks List and the jump, because he was not – some of these guys were high school wrestlers at Iowa. He wasn't. He was a basketball player, and told me he first started dunking when he was about 6'1", which as a guy who was wasn't like he was 6'1", 180 pounds. This isn't Cooper DeJean out there. He was, that was another benchmark for Freaks List stuff in the past, especially for Iowa guys. He did not do it. Some of his teammates did, but he was disappointed to say he did not beat Tristan Wirf's hang clean record, which was 500 pounds there. He was like, I hurt my hand. I only got 470.
500-pound hang clean? Excuse me? I don't think people realize how dumb that is.
That's just so dumb.
That's ridiculous. Bruce,
the hardos, though, in the back, they're like, he probably did it with straps.
I don't care if you did. It's fine. It's still ridiculous to be able to do that. That's insane. Bruce, it's always fun, man. We love this article. We love these stories about these guys. You do a great job with it every year. We shared it from the Mac and Cube account. People can go see it there. Thanks for hopping on today.
Always a pleasure, guys. Take care.
Sir.
Thanks.
There you go. Bruce Feldman joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline talking Freaks List. And you can there's so many of these that you could keep going on. Sonny Styles, Ohio State linebacker. A quote from DB or him quoting about DB Britton Jones, 6'2", 205, former walk-on, said he runs around 23 and has an 11-foot broad jump and verts 40. So Brenton Jones, Ohio State, maybe keep an eye on him.
I think that's
breaking out this year.
That's you know what's funny is like I feel like we look at the numbers every year, and this always comes out. And I always look forward to this article. Bruce does a great job with it and gets a lot of information. You can absolutely be misled. There's no denying like what you do in a quote freakish type of situation does not always necessarily lead to great play.
Well, look at Anthony Orge's
There's
quarterback
numbers. A million examples of that, I feel like the numbers get more ridiculous every year.
There's no doubt.
Every year, it's like, all right, well, that was impressive last year. Hold my beer. It's like insane how they just get more athletic every year. It's wild.
The two that really stuck out to me, Eli Stowers, we know what a great pass catcher he is, but a 39-inch vert at 6'4", and he was running over 21 miles an hour. How are you covering the guy? And then, like, I'm really anxious to see this dude from Toledo now. Like, if he has just halfway decent ball skills, CC Ezerum, 6'7", with a, what was it say his vert was? 30-something? 38? 39-inch vert? Yeah, I got to see this dude play football. Because if you're 6'7", and you can jump 39 inches, we are lobbing you the ball in the red zone every time.
Wherever you want it. It doesn't need to be in the red zone.
Float it and hope that a safety's not anywhere near there, and we're good. So always a fun list, always cool to talk to Bruce about it. It's always cool to stop into your CBD store as well because they have multiple products that can help you in multiple ways. If it's a better night's sleep, if it's waking up feeling energized, better focus throughout the course of the day, your CBD store can help you today. A lot of different ways that they can help and that they want to help. 3 locations to help you out as well. Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cajun Cleaver, Trussville just off 459. The largest brick-and-mortar CBD retailer in the world. Arthritis, anxiety bothering you or your pet, they can help with that. Gut health, skin care, they can help you there at your CBD store. First company of USDA certified organic oil supplements. They've got the stamp seal on those products. Go check them out today and tell them you heard about them right here on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, we'll come back with more SEC injury notes, other injury notes from around college football, and a couple commitments we need to discuss next on Mac and Cube in the morning.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, 3-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.